Hi, I am Lisa, the horticulturalist here at Elm Crest Country Club, and I thought today we would just walk up the front steps and go over the plants that are in the beds, give you their name. If I know it in Latin, I'll give it to you in Latin. If I just know a common name, I'll give you the common name. That way, if you're looking for these particular plants, you can find them. Either name will let you find them. I just happen to know mostly Latin, so bear with me. So this year, every year I try to do a different color theme up here. So this year I attempted to do orange and blue and white with the annuals. The perennials, they stay and they're sort of in the white, purple, and sometimes mauvey tones as the hydrangeas turn from white to that sort of pale pinky mauve color. So I guess we'll just start with some of the plants walking up. And I'm just going to go as we go. There are perennials and annuals mixed together, and I'll tell you which are which. And that is just a matter of an annual you have to plant every year. It will not come back. So, for instance, this is a coleus called Gay Delight. It can handle full sun. It's a little washed out up here in full sun. It also does really good in almost full shade. The leaf gets bigger. The purple is this really beautiful soft purple in the venation. So that's an annual, and we grow that in the greenhouse from cuttings. So that would have to be planted every year. In contrast, this guy is a pennisetum called Hamlin, and I might be pronouncing that wrong. But it's a little perennial grass that comes back year after year, and pretty much stays at that height. Sometimes when they're really happy in a pocket of really nice dirt, they'll go, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, but that's a really nice late blooming perennial that'll come back year after year. Behind that is salvia. There's a ton of salvias. There's so many salvias out there, it's hard to remember which one is which. This one is, I might have to cheat and look at, no, I won't. It's Victoria. It is Victoria, and it is tried and true. It's one of the best annuals on the market. It has basically no issues, at least for me here. The only issue I've had year after year, this year has not been an issue, is thrips. And sometimes thrips will curl your leaf and make the leaf unsightly, but for the most part, no other problems with that plant. So that's another really great annual to put in for color from pretty much middle of summer on through fall. Going up the steps, one of my favorite junipers, which next year, my original intent with these was to shape them into pyramids. So I think they've pretty much topped out at their height for the scale of the building. So I think I will start to shape them next spring into really tight, perfect pyramids. So that'll lend a little formality to this garden, because otherwise it's pretty loose. And that is a juniper called Star Power. So that's a nice one. Really nice silvery blue, which I love with the yellow and the mauve. But next year we're doing mauves, no more yellows, I don't think. What else? Nepeta, which is looking a little rough right now, but this plant is one of my favorite plants. It goes from May, it steps back a little bit in July and August with the heat of summer, and then it goes again in the fall, and that is Nepeta Walker's Low. Again, there's a bunch of different Nepetas out there. There's Six Hills Giant, there's a little dwarf one that I don't know the name of, but Walker's Low is my favorite. So, and that is perennial, that'll be back year after year. What else? Oh, well, this is the best plant in the bed this year, and you can see it here, and you can see it popped in throughout the beds, and then again up in the big circle bed, and it is Canna Pretoria, and it is pretty spectacular with the orange flower, and then it has the really cool variegated foliage. The yellow is spectacular. In the shade, you get less yellow, and you'll get more green, but you still have that really great striation on the leaf. So that's the showstopper for this year, I think. What else do we got? In the spring, this little guy is pretty spectacular, and I'll show it to you again up here. It's a Penstemon called Dark Towers, and It's funny, we'll go back and forth on what the flower color is. I guess I'd call it pale pink, white to pale pink. Some people say purple. I don't know. It's good. It's great in flower, and it's great in seed. So I'll show it to you again up there in seed. It's got really nice maroon foliage for a contrast to everything. So that's why that plant is top notch in my book. While we're going down the Juniper road, this is Juniper Gold Lace, and I think it has a really cool form, how it's low and sort of arching. And then I love everything gold foliaged, so I love it because it has that gold tip to it. It's starting to come out on the sidewalk on the other end. It's starting to come out on the bed, so I look forward to snipping these for Christmas greens for the club. And it'll be great in a vase with I don't know, something Christmassy, pine cones or something. So that is Juniper Gold Lace. Then if we keep going, you can sort of see mixed in with the cannas and the grasses and the mishmash, this plant here, which is butterfly weed. And there are two types of butterfly weed. There's annual butterfly weed, which this is. So this I'll take from cuttings and propagate it in the greenhouse. It sets seed. I have not had luck growing it from seed, but with that said, I'm seeing all kinds of little seedlings come back in the bed. So maybe next year they'll overwinter and pop up as volunteer seedlings. We'll see, but I won't take my chances. I'll take cuttings in the greenhouse to grow it. So that is annual Asclepias. There's a yellow form, there's the orange form, and then there's perennial Asclepias, which is also called butterfly weed. And I'm trying to get that established around the side of the clubhouse. Not having a whole lot of success, but I'm working on it. So that is that. And the butterflies have been crazy this year. So I think it's working. There's something to it. So this is the Penstemon again. And it's ready now to get deadheaded. It's got this sweet little seed capsule that is, I think, just now spent. It's ready to pop. And has gone brown, but it's been wine colored up until probably this week or last, and really pretty. I use it for arrangements inside, but if you don't cut it back before the seed head opens, you will have a ton of them. It seeds in a lot. So that is the Penstemon Dark Towers before it cuts back. What else? I mean, everybody knows. I assume everybody knows Mugo Pine, just a big chunky evergreen, barberries, and that is probably Crimson Pygmy. I don't know, it was here when I started, but from its habit I would guess Crimson Pygmy on that one. Super thorny, leaf catcher, but it's great again for the dark wine foliage color, so it stays. Tucked in the back, which is gorgeous right now, is the hydrangea. There are a billion different hydrangeas on the market right now. If you go to any nursery, you won't know which one to pick because there are so many. That one is vanilla strawberry, and it starts out cream and then fades that really pretty mauve color, unless it's in full sun and it gets hit by irrigation. And then, where's one that I've deadheaded? Oh, then sort of tucked back in here, when it gets hit with the irrigation in the full sun, the seed heads tend to brown on the surface of the flower, and so then it starts to look ugly and I cut them back. But in the shade where they're not getting hit with so much irrigation, they're beautiful. So vanilla strawberry is one of my favorites. I love Pinky Winky is another cultivar you can find, which is more of a lacy one. It has some flowers that are sterile, which don't actually put out the petals, and then some that do, so it's a much more lacy effect. Man, there's a ton of them. Limelight is a favorite, Pinky Winky, and vanilla strawberry, so those are a few to look for. Okay, so we're gonna walk down the other side, and I wanted to show you guys, in the spring, this is a totally different look. There's big allium bulbs with big round purple heads blooming. There are little tiny daffodils called minnow. They're really petite, a little pale yellow daffodil, and that was planned to come up with muscari, which is this foliage right here. The muscari foliage comes up in the fall, and then it stays. The muscari blooms this little, I think grape hyacinth is the common name on that, this little cone of little tiny blue flowers, and then that all dies back. The foliage is gone, and then in the fall it pops up again, which is actually nice in a sense because then you know where it's at. So if you're doing more fall bulb planting, you know where it's at. Like, I don't know where the alliums are in here because their foliage is dead, and I just have to guess if I'm going to do more planting. So I like muscari because it tells you, hey, I'm here. You don't have to plant more of me. I'm right here. So that's the little grape hyacinth. What else do we got in here? Well, we'll go down here, and I love grasses. They add great texture to the garden in the morning when the sun's coming up over there and it's dewy. This grass is spectacular. It is Panicum Northwind. Trying to think of a common name on Panicum. Switchgrass. Switchgrass is a common name. There's a bunch of different switchgrasses out there. What I like about Northwind is its habit is really tight and straight. It doesn't flop around. A lot of the grasses will open up and they'll flop, and Northwind's nice. It stays really base shaped and doesn't tend to open up. So great ornamental grass for you in the garden. Big too. It can hide a lot. Okay, this is my stumper plant. It's a chrysanthemum. I don't know the name on it. It is the last thing to bloom up here. It might have already frosted, but it can take it. It gets a little tiny little yellow flower, which is really pretty. I don't know the cultivar on it. I just can tell you that it's a chrysanthemum. Oh, what else didn't we cover up here? We got juniper. There's spirea. Everybody knows spirea. There's a billion of spirea on the market. Magic carpet, gold flame, neon. There's green ones. There's yellow foliage ones. There's hot pink blooming. There's light pink blooming. Daphne's another one. My favorite, again, because I have all my favorites, is magic carpet, and that's sort of tucked in here. It's not doing anything right now, but in the spring, this is spirea magic carpet. In the spring, it flushes up. The foliage is chartreuse and orange, sort of a really burnt, bricky orange, which is fun in the spring because it's a warm color. And in spring you get a lot of pinks and purples, and so this is really fun because that throws all that sort of typical spring color palette out the window, and you can work with orange and blue versus pink and blue, which I like. Thanks for walking around with me. We will do more of these garden walks. We'll go around the back of the clubhouse. Maybe we'll go out on the course so you guys can know the different plants that we're growing.